Let's go drift it.
Hey, I'm the Drifting Dad, and today I have a new sponsor, Rod End Supply. They were nice enough to send me a package, and we're going to take a look at what's inside it.
Open her up, Dad.
Open up, Dad.
So here, first we've got some misalignments. Those are for the rod ends. And then let's see what else we have. We have some rod ends, some jam nuts, some more rod ends, some rod end threaded inserts, more of those, and some more rod ends. So with all this stuff, you're probably wondering what I'm going to do. I'm going to be building some new lower control arms for the rear and possibly a third link as well. And then with these smaller ones, I'm going to be doing some custom outer tie rod pieces. Big thanks to Rod End Supply for all their support. I actually bought this tube from Metal Supermarkets in a 32-inch length, and I just cut in half. It's about 16 inches, and I'm just going to trim another inch off so I can get the right length. These lower links are pretty easy to assemble and fabricate. They're basically three parts. You're going to have the tube. In this case, this is an inch and a half, 120 wall, DOM, mild steel. And then you're going to have the two ends. And Rod End Supply makes this really easy. All you have to do is order these Welding bungs from them. So these are basically Welding tube ends. They fit nicely. They fit really nicely in the tube I've got, and make it real easy to weld up. Here's the adjustment that I have with these rod ends. You can see measuring about 9/16 of an inch per side, so just over an inch of adjustment. So a good trick to get a straight cut is to use some painter's tape, line up the edges. So just marked, I'm going to trim actually a ½ inch off the side to make it 15.5 inches long. I think for this cut I'll probably use my 4.5 inch barrel grinder. But sometimes I like using a hacksaw because you'd be a lot more precise. Always wear your PPE when you're making cuts with your grinder. You never know when a grinding wheel could explode on you. I cut the tubes to a final length of 14.5 inches. I had to do this a few times, just trial and error, but if anyone's going to remake these, it is 14.5 inches is the length that the tube needs to be. To make a straight cut, I used a magnet, basically wrapped it around like a pipe wrap and traced a line. And then I used my hacksaw. This gets a little more precision cut than just a grinding wheel. And I go around and score the entire circumference of the tube and then just follow that guide. Makes it pretty straight. Definitely straight enough for what I'm doing here. After cutting the pipe to length, cleaning it up a bit, and sanding it, I tacked the tube ends on. These are pretty nice tube ends. They're from Rod End Supply. They fit perfectly. They're right-handed and left-handed, so real easy to adjust the length once they're done. Cleaned up the tube. You want to sand and clean real good. And then I went ahead and tacked it on. Checked the length with the misalignments. And after I checked the length, I went and welded. A good tip is that if you make 4 tacks and basically every 90 degrees, then you have a nice start and stop point. That works pretty good. My welds are definitely not the greatest, but I'm getting good penetration. For welding, I cranked the amperage all the way up to 120 amps because this is like a 120 wall tube, and the tube ends are real thick wall. I didn't have any danger of overheating anything. You just want to move fast. I had your filler rod for sure. I think it's 1/16 filler rod I'm using. You could use a little bigger, but I like to use a smaller filler rod and just feed faster.
After the parts are welded, this is what they look like. See, there's some nice color. I use a gas lens number 8 on my torch, 8 size. That helps with the distribution of the gas over the entire weld. Makes it a whole lot cleaner, reduces contamination. After I finished welding, I painted them up and installed them, put the rod ends on and everything. As far as adjusting the pinion angle, I set them to a certain distance and then measured the pinion angle with an angle finder. You can see here the nose of the third number is pointed down a little, so I had to shorten it up. And the nice thing with these, since I have the left hand and right hand rod ends, you just turn the shaft, and then once you get to desired location, hold it, use both lock nuts, lock it down. One other thing you want to keep in mind is that you want to definitely grease the rod ends or use ICs so that it'll be easier to adjust it after they've been on the car for a while.
So with some tools like a welder, grinding wheel, these are not too hard to make. Obviously, if you don't feel like you can make these and you still want a pair, please let me know. Comment, email me, message me. I'm very willing to make a pair for you. We can discuss pricing when you get in contact with me.